Hello, children. In our last class, I had taught you the respiratory system in human beings. I had also introduced you that respiration, being a very important life process, deals with two important steps, that is, breathing and cellular respiration. In this class, we will be dealing with the first step, breathing rate, mechanism of inhalation and exhalation, and transport of gases in the blood. For that, children, you have to first learn what is breathing. Breathing refers to inhalation and exhalation, that is, taking in air rich in oxygen and giving out air rich in carbon dioxide. So, this process requires two important steps. The first one is inhalation, that is, inspiration or taking air rich in oxygen. Second one is exhalation or expiration, giving out air rich in carbon dioxide. Now, one inhalation and one exhalation refers to one breath, or you can say one breath comprises of one inhalation and one exhalation. Now, breathing rate refers to the number of times an organism breathes in 1 minute. This rate is called breathing rate. The normal breathing rate in human beings is 15 to 17 breaths per minute. It means that in 1 minute, a human being in normal condition will breathe 15 to 17 times. Okay, now before we learn about other small aspects, we should know what is the mechanism of inhalation and exhalation. Children, you have learned the respiratory system in the last class. Let us see what leads to inhalation, what leads to air gushing inside the body. Right? All of you are well aware of the structure. I have drawn the diagram specifying those organisms where you can understand, or those organs where you can understand how inhalation takes place. First of all, the diaphragm that used to exist in the inverted U shape in the normal condition contracts, as a result of which it becomes flat. When the diaphragm becomes flat, then the intercostal muscles present between the rib cage, they also contract. When they contract, then the chest cavity increases. What happens, children? Diaphragm moves down, it gets flat. The chest cavity increases due to the contraction of the muscles in between the rib cage. Okay, when the chest cavity or the thoracic cavity increases, the lungs which are present inside, they get space to inflate or swell. When they swell, there is a drop of pressure inside the lungs. Okay, there is a pressure drop of air inside the lungs due to increase in the chest cavity. As a result, air rich in oxygen gushes inside. So basically, what are the sequence of events? The diaphragm moves down, the rib muscles contract, chest cavity increases, lungs, they get space to swell. When they inflate, there is a pressure drop inside. As a result, air rich in oxygen enters inside. So this is the mechanism of inhalation. Exactly opposite takes place when you exhale. So what is the mechanism of exhalation? During exhalation, the diaphragm that was flat gets back to its inverted U shape or dome position. When it gets back to its inverted U shape position, the rib muscles, they relax. Due to relaxation of the rib muscles, the chest cavity decreases. The lungs, they shrink inside. Okay, because of that, the pressure increases here inside the lungs and air rich in CO2 moves out. So these are the sequence of events during exhalation, that the diaphragm gets back to its inverted U position. The chest cavity decreases due to relaxation of the intercostal muscles. The lungs, they squeeze. There is increased pressure. As a result, air rich in CO2 moves out. So this is the mechanism of inhalation and exhalation. Okay, so let us recapitulate. During inhalation, intercostal muscles contract, diaphragm moves down. This leads to increase in the chest cavity. Lungs get more space to inflate. Pressure within the lungs decreases. As a result, air rich in oxygen gushes in. During exhalation, diaphragm relaxes, moves back to its original position, chest cavity contracts due to the action of intercostal muscles, the lung volume decreases, the pressure increases, and air rich in CO2 is forced out of the body. So, this was breathing and mechanism of inhalation and exhalation. Now, let us understand one small concept that inhaled air, okay, when it enters into the lungs and reaches the alveolar sacs, which is the site of gaseous exchange, then during inhalation you are taking in air rich in oxygen. So because of more concentration of oxygen, the oxygen outside is more and within the blood is less. So it will automatically diffuse from a region of higher concentration to lower concentration, and it will immediately enter the blood. The blood that has come to the alveoli from the cells is rich in CO2 after cellular respiration. So inside the blood CO2 concentration is more and outside it is less. So during exhalation, CO2 immediately diffuses from the capillaries surrounding the alveoli into the bronchus, and then it is exhaled out of the body. Now, why do aquatic organisms have a faster breathing rate? Now, it is said that 15 to 17 breaths per minute is the normal breathing rate in human beings. But aquatic organisms have a faster breathing rate. Reason behind, since aquatic organisms are in the body of water, they take in the dissolved form of oxygen, and the concentration of dissolved oxygen is very less as compared to the oxygen present in the terrestrial environment or the atmosphere. So if the concentration is less in water and if the organisms need more oxygen, obviously they have to breathe more, hence they have a faster breathing rate. Children, now you have to understand that what mechanism is actually facilitating exchange of gases in the alveoli. Obviously during inhalation and exhalation, when there is exchange of oxygen and CO2, the phenomenon involved is diffusion through the thin membranes of the alveolar sacs. Now, after inhalation, when oxygen is added into the blood, how does it reach each and every cell of the body? What facilitates the transport of oxygen and CO2? Immediately, when the oxygen is added into the blood at the alveoli, the hemoglobin that is present in the RBCs, okay, it is considered to be a respiratory pigment. This hemoglobin is an iron containing pigment which has a strong affinity for oxygen, and it immediately binds with the oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin. That is, oxygen is transported in the blood to all the cells of the body in the form of oxyhemoglobin. The CO2 that is collected from the cells has to be given to the lungs for exhalation. So that CO2, when it travels through blood, it travels in the form of soluble carbonates and bicarbonates, or if the CO2 is attached to the hemoglobin, it travels in blood in the form of carb amino hemoglobin. So again I am repeating, oxygen in the blood immediately binds with hemoglobin in the RBCs because it has a strong affinity, and it will form oxyhemoglobin. That oxyhemoglobin will reach each and every cell Oxygen will be given to the cell and the CO2 will be collected again in the form of carbonates and bicarbonates or in the form of carbaminohemoglobin. It will be sent back to the alveoli in the lungs so that through the alveoli again it can be exhaled out of the body. So this was transport of oxygen and CO2 in blood. So this is all for today. I will cover cellular respiration in detail in my next video. Thank you. Have a nice day.